When Robert Mitchum finally chose to open up about his time with Marilyn Monroe, Hollywood held its breath. For decades, rumors and half-truths had woven their names together like a mysterious thread, two icons forever linked by one unforgettable film. But what Mitchum eventually revealed wasn't tabloid gossip. It was a story of deep empathy, quiet pain, and unspoken understanding, shared by one of Hollywood's most enigmatic men. Robert Charles Derman, Mitchum entered the world on August 6, 1917, in Bridgeport, Connecticut. His life began far from the bright lights of movie premieres. Tragedy struck early. His father died in a railroad accident when Robert was still a toddler. His mother, Anne Harriet Gunderson Mitchum, was left to raise 3 children alone during the Great Depression. She taught her children resilience and self-reliance, traits that would later define Robert's on-screen persona. Restless and fiercely independent, Mitchum ran away at just 14 years old, riding freight trains across Depression-era America. He scraped by through ditch digging, boxing, writing poetry for cash, and even spent time on a Southern chain gang after being arrested for vagrancy. Those harsh experiences gave him a grounded, almost instinctive understanding of society's outsiders, a quality that became the backbone of his unforgettable portrayals of haunted, complex men. Mitchum's road to acting wasn't deliberate. In the early 1940s, after marrying Dorothy Spence, the love of his life, he moved to California and worked at Lockheed Aircraft, supporting his growing family. On the side, he joined community theater productions. His deep, magnetic voice and effortless presence caught attention quickly. Soon he landed small film parts, eventually signing with RKO Pictures. By 1944 and 1945, with standout performances in 30 Seconds Over Tokyo and The Story of G. I, Joe, he captured critics' attention and earned his first and only Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. By the late 1940s and 1950s, Mitchum had become one of cinema's most compelling leading men. He carved out a place as a defining figure of film noir, starring in classics such as Out of the Past, 1947, Crossfire, 1947, and The Big Steal, 1949. Unlike actors who relied on theatricality, Mitchum had a unique stillness. He didn't perform, he existed. The camera loved him for it. In 1948, a scandal erupted. Mitchum was arrested for marijuana possession. For most stars of that era, this would have been a career-ending event. But Mitchum's calm response only fueled his legend. He served a short sentence, returned to work, and emerged with a rebel mystique that made him even more magnetic to audiences. In 1954, Mitchum co-starred with Marilyn Monroe in River of No Return. Filmed in the harsh Canadian wilderness, the production was as grueling as it was beautiful. The film would go on to become iconic, not just for its scenery, but for the undeniable tension between its two stars. For years, Mitchum deflected questions about Monroe with his trademark coolness, but later in life, he finally opened up. His reflections were not salacious. They were strikingly tender. "She was a lost child in a woman's body," Mitchum once said, his voice heavy with memory. People saw the blonde hair, the curves, the walk, but inside she was terrified most of the time. She wanted love, but Hollywood only knew how to sell her. On set, Monroe's biggest struggles weren't the icy waters or dangerous rapids. It was her own insecurity. She constantly worried about being replaced or not measuring up. Mitchum remembered, you could see it in her eyes. She needed reassurance all the time, and the studio never gave her that. They treated her like a product, not a person. Mitchum, known for his quiet confidence and lack of ego, developed a soft spot for Monroe. Their personalities couldn't have been more different. His rugged, understated masculinity contrasted with her fragile glamour. But their bond was built on mutual respect. "She was late a lot, sure," he once said with a grin, "but when the camera started rolling, Nobody could look away. She had something you can't fake, something that came from a deep, painful place. Unlike many in her orbit, Mitchum refused to patronize her. "I never talked down to her," he said. "Everyone else treated her like she was dumb. She wasn't. She was smart, just damaged." Between takes, Monroe sometimes opened up to him about her chaotic childhood, her fears, and the isolation that followed her everywhere. "She told me once," Mitchum recalled softly, "that being famous felt like living in a glass box. Everyone could see her, but no one could hear her." Despite the chemistry, their relationship never turned romantic. Mitchum cared too much to become another opportunist. "She'd already had enough of that," he said. "She needed a friend, not another man with an angle." Away from Hollywood, Mitchum's personal story was just as compelling. He first met Dorothy Spence in the autumn of 1933 at a Delaware swimming hole. He was 16, she was 14. Her small-town grace and quiet intelligence balanced his fiery spirit. In 1940, they married in a modest ceremony in a Methodist parson's kitchen in Dover. No flashbulbs, no spectacle, just love. Their marriage endured 57 years, weathering fame, scandals, and Hollywood's temptations. Dorothy remained his steady anchor. Mitchum's career spanned over 5 decades. His chilling portrayal of preacher Harry Powell in The Night of the Hunter, 1955, remains one of cinema's most terrifying performances. In Cape Fear, 1962, he became the menacing Max Cady. Later, he gave acclaimed performances in Ryan's Daughter, 1970, The Friends of Eddie Coyle, 1973, and Farewell, My Lovely, 1975, proving that age couldn't dim his presence. Off-screen, he was famously relaxed about his craft. Colleagues often joked that he could sleep between takes and still deliver a flawless performance when cameras rolled. Beneath the tough exterior was a thoughtful man, deeply devoted to his family, and even a musician. He recorded 2 albums, one of calypso music and another of country ballads, showcasing his warm baritone. Robert Mitchum died peacefully in his sleep at 5 on Success on July 1, 1997, at his home in Santa Barbara, California, after battling lung cancer and emphysema. At his side was Dorothy, his partner of 57 years. Through his late-in-life honesty, Mitchum offered a rare, compassionate insight into Marilyn Monroe, not as a fantasy, but as a woman. His reflections remain both a tribute and a warning about the price of fame. "She needed to be treated like a person," he said. "If more people had done that, maybe she'd still be here."